Earth had always been an overlooked planet in the vastness of the galaxy, a small blue orb in the corner of a distant star system, home to creatures still learning to harness the very basics of their own technology. To the rest of the universe, Earth was nothing more than a curious anomaly, a primitive planet with little to offer beyond its vast oceans and scattered forests. So when Earth's government sent a message across the stars, a formal proposal to join the Intergalactic Council, it was expected to be laughed off. The galaxy's most powerful beings, a coalition of ancient alien races, had ruled for millennia. Their power was vast, their technology far beyond anything Earth could even imagine. At the head of this council was Supreme Commander Vrax, a towering figure whose species had mastered the arts of warfare and manipulation long before humanity had even discovered fire. He and his council of advisors sat in their dark, imposing chambers, gazing down at the message sent by Earth's ambassador, Captain Aidan Grant. As the proposal materialized on their screens, the council members exchanged skeptical glances. Commander Vrax let out a low, dismissive chuckle, shaking his head as he read the message aloud to the room. "They believe they have a right to join us." Vrax's voice was laced with mockery, his red eyes glowing with amusement. How could these Terrans even consider themselves worthy of sitting among us? One of the other council members, a sleek, silver-skinned alien, raised a hand. Perhaps it is some sort of joke, a desperate attempt from an insignificant species trying to make its mark. The others laughed. The idea of humans, Earthlings, joining the council was absurd to them. How could these fragile creatures, who had only recently begun to explore their own solar system, think they could compete with beings who had ruled the stars for eons? But there was one face that didn't share in the laughter. Captain Aidan Grant stood on the other side of the galaxy, watching the events unfold on his ship's communications screen. His expression was calm, unreadable, as he stood in front of the council's representatives. He could hear their laughter, their mocking tones, but he didn't flinch. Grant's mind wasn't on the laughter. He knew something they didn't, a secret that Earth had kept hidden from the universe. While the galaxy laughed at humanity's attempts to be taken seriously, Earth had been quietly building. Deep within the planet's most secure military facilities, scientists and engineers had been working around the clock. Earth had created a fleet, a hidden armada that had been years in the making, powered by cutting-edge technologies. The ships were cloaked, undetectable by the alien sensors, and packed with weapons designed to challenge even the most advanced alien warships. Grant didn't know exactly when it would happen, but he had a gut feeling that the moment was approaching. As the council members continued to scoff, Grant's hand hovered over a button on his console. It was a simple gesture, but it carried with it the weight of humanity's future. The decision had already been made. Earth had chosen to fight. Back on Earth, General Isla Cortez stood in her command center, staring at the display screen. She had been monitoring the council's rejection of the proposal, and as expected, the response from the galaxy's elite was one of disdain. But something felt different this time. The silence in her office was deafening, broken only by the soft hum of equipment. She paced back and forth, knowing what was at stake. The Terran military had been preparing for years, but General Cortez couldn't help but feel a sense of uncertainty. Was humanity truly ready for what was coming? The decision to fight, to send Earth's fleet into the galaxy's heart, was a monumental one, and with the rejection now official, the battle would begin. The question was, would humanity survive it? Cortez turned back to the screen as the final words of the council meeting came to an end. The aliens had laughed, dismissed Earth's proposal, and celebrated their victory. They thought they had won, but they had no idea what was coming. As the council adjourned, something strange began to happen. At first, it was barely noticeable, a tiny fluctuation in the star systems just beyond the council's reach. But to those who were watching closely, it was impossible to ignore. Something was shifting in the cosmic balance. Something that had remained hidden for years was now slowly beginning to reveal itself. Unseen by the aliens, the first wave of Earth's fleet powered up in the shadows. Their advanced cloaking devices flickered to life, making them invisible to any alien sensor. As the Terran ships began to move into position, the Council, still basking in their perceived victory, was completely unaware of the impending storm. On Earth, the fleet's commanders received the signal. The time had come. With a single command, Earth's military forces were ready for battle. The ships were en route to alien outposts across the galaxy, carrying the power to bring chaos to the Council's ranks. But even the humans couldn't predict how the alien races would react when their fleets were suddenly under attack. Back in the Council chambers, the leaders of the galaxy celebrated their victory over humanity, each taking their turn to mock the Terrans and their futile attempts to join the fold. They believed the humans were too weak, too primitive to pose any real threat. But as they reveled in their victory, they failed to notice something unsettling. A massive burst of energy, sudden and powerful, rippled through the Council's communication systems, causing their screens to flicker and their ship's instruments to malfunction. The power surge was enough to send shockwaves throughout the Council's headquarters. Vrax's eyes narrowed, his glowing red gaze now full of suspicion. "What is happening?" he growled, his voice cold. "What is this anomaly?" The Council's technicians scrambled to find the source, but nothing prepared them for what was about to come. In an instant, the system detected multiple unidentified objects emerging from the shadows of space. The Terran fleet, cloaked and silent, had begun its first strike. The first attack came from a small, remote alien outpost located on the edge of the galaxy. Earth's fleet, undetected, opened fire. The alien defenses were no match for the sheer power and precision of the Terran ships. The outpost, once thought to be safe and secure, was quickly overwhelmed. The surprise was total. The Council's defenses were shaken. They hadn't even seen the humans coming, and now their own soldiers were under attack. Commander Vrax's mind raced, processing the new information with incredible speed. Earth's fleet was far more advanced than the Council had anticipated. These humans, who they had dismissed as weak and insignificant, had a power that could shake the very foundation of their empire. The news of the attack spread through the Council ranks like wildfire. They scrambled to prepare for a counteroffensive, but the humans had already made their move. Earth was no longer just a joke to them. It was a force to be reckoned with. The proposal had been rejected, but the humans had refused to accept that rejection. Now the fight had begun. The galaxy's elite, those who thought they were untouchable, were about to learn the hard truth. Humanity would never back down. The galaxy had always been a place where the strong ruled, and the weak were crushed without a second thought. For centuries, the aliens in the Intergalactic Council had enjoyed their supremacy, knowing that no one, could challenge their might. But now, something had changed. Earth, the once insignificant planet, had begun to make its mark in ways the Council never anticipated. Deep in the darkness of space, Earth's hidden fleet moved, unseen and unheard. The Terran ships, cloaked in advanced technology, emerged from the shadows. These were no ordinary vessels. Cloaking devices, stealth technologies, and advanced AI systems made them nearly invisible to alien sensors. The fleet had been built in secret, designed to strike when the time was right. Now, that time had come. The first encounter between Earth's fleet and the alien forces was nothing short of a shock. The aliens' superior warships, sleek, powerful, and equipped with the best technologies, had no idea that the Terran fleet was even near. They were blind. And in that blindness, Earth's ships struck fast and hard. The first alien outpost, a hub of military power and intelligence, fell quickly under the Terran assault. It was the beginning of something no one in the galaxy had expected. From the Council's command center, Supreme Commander Vrax watched in disbelief as the first reports came in. His fleet, the pride of the Intergalactic Council, was being torn apart. At first, it was nothing more than a nuisance, small skirmishes with an unknown enemy. But then, As Earth's fleet continued its relentless attacks, the truth began to sink in. These humans, these insignificant creatures, were not only fighting back, they were winning. The Terran fleet, moving with precision and speed, launched a series of devastating strikes, obliterating one outpost after another. The aliens were scrambling. They couldn't track the Terran ships, couldn't pinpoint their location. Every time they thought they had found the enemy, the ships vanished into the void. And then, when the time was right, the humans would strike again. Back on Earth, General Isla Cortez watched the battles unfold from her command center, her eyes locked on the display screens. The weight of what was happening pressed heavily on her chest. She knew the stakes had never been higher, and yet, as she watched the Terran fleet take down each alien target, she couldn't help but feel a mixture of pride and fear. For Cortez, this battle wasn't just about winning, it was personal. She thought of her old friend, Bonner, the man who had led the first failed mission against the alien empire all those years ago. Bonner had been a brilliant strategist, a man who had believed in humanity's potential. But he had paid the ultimate price when his ship was destroyed in a failed mission, and the Council had crushed their forces mercilessly. Bonner's death had haunted Cortez for years, driving her every move. She had never forgotten the promise she made to him, to ensure humanity would survive and rise up. As the Terran fleet continued its strike against the Council's outposts, Cortez thought of Bonner again. She thought of the way he had believed in the impossible. He had believed in humanity's strength, even when no one else did. Now, standing on the brink of what could be humanity's greatest victory, she felt his presence in her heart. This was for him, for all the fallen soldiers, and for every human who had ever dreamed of something greater. The battle was far from over, though. The Council was not one to be taken down easily. Supreme Commander Vrax, though initially shocked by the Terran fleet's sudden rise, quickly regained his composure. He was not a leader who would simply allow his forces to be decimated. His pride as the supreme commander of the galaxy demanded a response. "Send out the AI fleets," Vrax ordered, his voice sharp and full of authority. "We will show them what real power is." The alien fleet, once a symbol of invincibility, now faced a terrifying new force, an army of AI-controlled warships, each one more deadly than the last. These ships were designed for one thing: to annihilate. Their weapons were vast, their speed unmatched, and their intelligence unmatched by anything the Terran fleet had seen. The aliens were sending in their ultimate weapon, and it was clear they were no longer underestimating humanity. But the Terran fleet, prepared for this moment, was not caught off guard. Earth's engineers had worked tirelessly to develop their own AI warfare systems, specifically designed to counter the alien machines. The two fleets clashed in the depths of space, a violent dance of metal and fire. The alien AI ships were fast, their movements calculated, but Earth's fleet was unpredictable. Their AI systems, though not as advanced as the Council's, had been built with one goal in mind: survival. They fought with a level of raw, human determination that the alien machines could not comprehend. The battle raged on, each side exchanging devastating blows, but Earth's fleet began to show its strength. The alien AI ships, while powerful, lacked the flexibility and adaptability of human thought. The Terran ships were able to outmaneuver them, exploiting weaknesses in their systems. Each alien AI ship that was destroyed sent shockwaves through the Council's ranks. It was a victory, but one that came at a cost. The Terran fleet had suffered heavy losses, and Cortez knew that this battle was just the beginning. The Council had shown their hand, but they had more weapons at their disposal. Cortez's eyes flicked over the data streaming across the command center screens. The battle had ended, but the war was far from over. As news of the Terran fleet's success spread across the galaxy, a sense of disbelief rippled through the Council's ranks. The invincible aliens, once so sure of their superiority, were now facing a new enemy, one they had underestimated from the beginning. The Terran fleet was no longer just a nuisance. It was a real threat, and this threat was growing stronger with each passing moment. But the Council, although shaken, was not ready to surrender. Vrax's anger burned in his chest as he ordered his commanders to prepare their next move. They had lost this battle, but they would not lose the war. "We will crush them," Vrax vowed, his voice filled with venom. "Prepare the next weapon. The humans won't know what hit them." The aliens had one more ace up their sleeve, a weapon so terrifying that even the Terran fleet might not be able to survive it. And as the galaxy held its breath, waiting for the next move, Cortez knew that the stakes had never been higher. The first sign of the alien empire's retaliation came with a low hum that rattled the very core of the Terran fleet. The calm of space was shattered as a massive black shape emerged from the depths of the void. It was unlike anything Earth's fleet had faced before. An eye-controlled warship so colossal that it seemed to swallow the very light around it. The ship's sheer size made the rest of the Terran fleet look like mere specks in the vast expanse of space. The entire structure buzzed with an ominous energy as it powered up its weapons, sending a chilling message across the galaxy. This was no ordinary warship. The AI warship was equipped with the most destructive weapons ever seen in the galaxy. Massive energy beams capable of wiping out entire planets with a single shot. Its AI core was designed to think and act faster than any human could, making it nearly impossible to predict or defeat. The Terran fleet had faced alien technology before, but this was different. This was the weapon that would end humanity if they couldn't find a way to stop it. Back on Earth, Captain Aidan Grant stood at the helm of his ship, the Relentless. His mind raced as he watched the approaching AI warship on his screen. The alien empire had pulled out their final trump card, and now the fate of humanity rested on the shoulders of the Terran fleet. Grant gripped the control panel tightly, trying to steady his nerves. He thought of Bonner, the brave soldier who had sacrificed everything in the first failed mission. Bonner's death had been the turning point for Grant, pushing him to become the leader he was today. He remembered the promise he made to Bonner's memory. Humanity would never fall to the alien empire. But as the massive AI warship drew closer, Grant couldn't shake the feeling that Earth's technology alone might not be enough to defeat this new threat. They had fought back against the aliens' smaller forces, but this was something entirely different. This was the enemy's final weapon, and it was clear they were going to make it count. The AI warship began to charge its primary weapon. On Earth, the Terran fleet readied their defenses, but the air was thick with tension. Their best weapons, plasma torpedoes, AI-controlled fighter jets, and laser beams, would be put to the test in a way they hadn't been before. The vast black ship loomed larger on the radar, and with each passing second, the Terrans could feel the weight of the impending destruction. The first blast from the AI warship struck the heart of the Terran fleet, sending shockwaves through space. The energy beams from the massive ship tore through one of Earth's warships, vaporizing it in a flash of light. The explosion was so intense that it briefly illuminated the entire sector. Captain Grant's eyes widened as he watched the destruction unfold on his screen. Earth's forces had never encountered anything like this before. The AI warship was relentless, its firepower overwhelming. But the Terran fleet didn't falter. They fought back with everything they had. Plasma torpedoes streaked across the dark expanse of space, crashing into the AI warship's shields. The alien ship shuddered, but its massive hull remained intact. AI-controlled fighter jets swarmed around the AI warship, launching a barrage of laser beams and missiles. Some struck their target, but the alien vessel's energy shields absorbed most of the damage. The battle was brutal. Explosions, flashing lights, and the sounds of weapons clashing echoed through the communications channels. Earth's fleet gave everything they had, but it seemed like the AI warship was unstoppable. Grant clenched his teeth. "We need to hit its core, disable its eye." He barked at his crew. But how could they target a ship with such advanced technology? The AI warship was designed to be a fortress, with weapons so powerful that even a direct hit seemed pointless. The thought of losing this battle, of failing the human race, was unbearable. But Captain Grant refused to give in. The tension in the air was palpable. Every second felt like an eternity. As the AI warship unleashed another devastating energy beam, the Terran fleet began to feel the weight of their impending defeat. Ships were being torn apart, one by one. The AI warships seemed invincible. With each shot, Earth's forces were pushed further back, and the fleet's morale began to falter. Just as it seemed like all hope was lost, a voice crackled over the comms. "Captain Grant, we have something new, an experimental weapon. It's ready for deployment." Grant turned sharply toward the communication officer, his heart racing. "What kind of weapon?" "It's an energy disruptor, sir," the officer replied. "It's designed to disable AI systems. We think it might work on their core." It was a long shot, a desperate gamble, but it was their only option. The Terran fleet had been working on this new weapon in secret, but it had never been tested in combat. If it failed, they would be wiped out. But if it worked, it could be the key to taking down the AI warship. Grant gave the order. "Launch the energy disruptor. Now." The experimental weapon, a sleek black missile, was fired from the Relentless and shot toward the AI warship. The missile's trajectory was perfect, its targeting system locked onto the ship's AI core. As the missile reached its target, it unleashed a powerful pulse of energy, aimed directly at the AI's neural network. For a moment, nothing happened. The Terran fleet watched in suspended disbelief as the massive AI warship continued to fire its energy beams, seemingly unaffected. But then, the unthinkable happened. The ship's massive engines sputtered and faltered. The energy beams from the AI warship grew erratic and weak, and the massive vessel began to shudder, as if struggling to remain functional. The AI warship's central core was damaged. The disruptor had worked. The Terran fleet surged forward, pressing the advantage. Plasma torpedoes exploded against the alien warship, causing sparks to fly as the AI-controlled ship tried to regain its composure. It was clear that the AI systems had been crippled, and the ship's defenses were no longer as formidable. The tide of the battle began to turn. Earth's fleet fought with renewed hope and determination, launching wave after wave of attacks. The AI warship had been dealt a serious blow, and it was clear that its invincibility had been shattered. But even as the Terran forces celebrated their victory, Captain Grant knew that the war was far from over. The AI warship had been damaged, but not destroyed. It was still a formidable threat, and the alien empire had more weapons at their disposal. The news of Earth's victory spread quickly across the galaxy, but the Council was already preparing its next move. As Grant surveyed the damage to the fleet, he felt a cold shiver run down his spine. This was just one battle, and many more were to come. The Terran fleet had won, but the war was far from over. The battle for Earth had reached a new level of devastation. The alien empire, stunned by their defeat, wasted no time in retaliating with unimaginable force. In the darkness of space, their response was swift and brutal, an orbital bombardment unlike anything Earth had ever seen. Massive warships positioned high above Earth began launching payloads that rained down on the planet's surface. Explosions shook the cities, sending plumes of smoke and fire spiraling into the sky. Buildings crumbled to dust as the alien weapons unleashed their fury. The devastation was staggering. Entire cities were wiped off the map in seconds, their populations vanishing in the blink of an eye. The alien empire's intention was clear. They would leave nothing of Earth's defenses standing. This was more than just a military strike. It was an attempt to break humanity's spirit, to show them that no matter how hard they fought, they were no match for the might of the alien empire. Back on Earth, General Isla Cortez stood at the command center, watching the destruction unfold on the screens before her. The gravity of the situation weighed heavily on her shoulders. Her hands clenched into fists as she saw entire cities burning in the distance. The orbital bombardment was only the beginning. The aliens had more in store, and she knew that Earth's military had to be ready for the worst. General Cortez's mind drifted back to Bonner, her friend who had fallen during the early days of the war. His death still haunted her, and now, as she looked at the chaos unfolding before her, she could feel the weight of his loss more than ever. Bonner had always believed in humanity's strength, even when it seemed like the odds were against them. He had given everything for Earth's survival, and now Cortez had to carry that same belief forward, even if it meant paying the ultimate price. She turned away from the screen, her face set in determination. The capital was in danger, and it was up to her to protect it. Cortez rallied her troops and led them into battle. They were humanity's last hope, and she couldn't afford to fail them. On the ground, the situation was dire. Alien forces had deployed their elite soldiers to Earth's surface, hoping to cripple the human military infrastructure. These soldiers were nothing like the ones Earth had faced before. They were ruthless, highly trained, and equipped with technology far beyond anything humanity had developed. But General Cortez was not afraid. She knew that her soldiers, though outmatched, had something the aliens didn't: the will to fight, to survive, and to protect their home. As the alien soldiers advanced, Cortez led her forces into battle, donning an advanced mech suit that enhanced her strength and speed. The suit, powered by cutting-edge AI, allowed her to fight on equal footing with the alien invaders. She commanded her troops, directing them to key points of defense, while also taking the fight directly to the aliens. The battlefield was chaos. Explosions rocked the ground as alien weapons tore through the air, and human soldiers fought back with all the fury they could muster. Mechs clashed with alien warriors, sending shockwaves through the earth with every blow. The aliens' advanced weaponry was fearsome, but the Terran soldiers refused to back down. They fought with raw determination, pushing forward even as the death toll mounted. Cortez, her heart heavy with the grief of her fallen friends, fought with unmatched ferocity. She led by example, charging into the thick of the battle, never once showing weakness. The sounds of battle echoed in her ears: screams of pain, the clash of metal, the hum of plasma weapons. And yet, through it all, she remained focused on one goal: victory. The alien forces had underestimated humanity's resilience, and now they were about to learn just how powerful the human spirit could be. But as the ground battle raged on, Cortez knew that the stakes were rising. The aliens weren't just attacking Earth's cities. They were after something more important: the key to humanity's survival. If they could destroy Earth's remaining military infrastructure, they would be able to crush humanity's hopes of victory once and for all. That was why Cortez's next mission was so critical. The aliens had constructed a superweapon on Earth's surface, one capable of wiping out entire regions with a single blast. If they could disable it, humanity might have a fighting chance. The mission was clear: infiltrate the alien base, disable the superweapon, and return before the entire planet was lost. But it wasn't going to be easy. Cortez and her team would have to navigate through alien-controlled territory, dodging deadly traps and overwhelming odds. The team set out under the cover of darkness, moving swiftly through the wreckage of the city. They had to be careful. Every step they took could be their last. Alien patrols roamed the streets, their presence a constant threat. Cortez's heart pounded in her chest as she led the way, knowing that failure was not an option. The closer they got to the base, the more dangerous their surroundings became. Alien forces were everywhere, and each encounter brought them closer to their goal. The Terran soldiers fought with everything they had, but the aliens fought just as hard. It was a race against time, a desperate bid to prevent the superweapon from being deployed. Finally, they reached the alien base. The superweapon, a massive energy cannon, was positioned at the heart of the installation. It was ready to fire. Cortez and her team moved quickly, planting explosives around the base to disable the weapon. But just as they were about to leave, disaster struck. The base's defenses activated, and they were surrounded by alien soldiers. The battle turned into a desperate struggle for survival as the Terran soldiers fought to hold their ground. Cortez watched as her soldiers fell, one by one, in the heat of the battle. She fought with everything she had: but the loss of so many comrades weighed heavily on her. In the chaos of the fight, she saw one of her closest friends, Lieutenant Harper, fall. His death was a blow that nearly shattered her resolve, but she pushed forward. They had come this far. They couldn't fail now. With a final, desperate push, the team was able to disable the superweapon just moments before it could fire. The explosion rocked the alien base, sending shockwaves through the area. Earth's forces had succeeded, but at a terrible cost. Many soldiers had lost their lives, including Cortez's closest friend. The mission was over, but the victory felt hollow in the face of so much loss. As the surviving soldiers regrouped, the Terran fleet in space continued to fight the alien invaders. They had dealt a major blow to the alien empire, but it was clear that this was just one battle in a much larger war. The alien empire was more determined than ever, and they would stop at nothing to see humanity fall. Cortez stood among the wreckage, her face grim but resolute. The war was far from over, but humanity had shown that they would fight with everything they had to protect their home. The universe was on the edge of its seat as the final battle loomed on the horizon. Supreme Commander Vrax, seething with fury over the destruction of his fleets and the loss of his superweapon, made a chilling decision. Earth must be erased. He would not let this insignificant planet defy the might of the alien empire any longer. With a voice full of wrath, he ordered the deployment of his entire fleet. The alien armada would converge on Earth's orbit, ready to deliver the final blow. Vrax's anger was palpable. He had watched as his forces were humbled by the Terran fleet, unable to fathom how a species as primitive as humans could stand against the power of the alien empire. But the Terrans had proven themselves, time and time again, to be resourceful, resilient, and deadly. The destruction of his superweapon had been a severe blow, and now Earth's victory felt inevitable. It was his turn to crush them completely. Back on Earth, the Terran forces, though battered, were prepared for the final confrontation. The destruction they had witnessed in the past weeks had only fueled their determination. They had fought too hard and sacrificed too much to let it all be undone now. General Cortez, Captain Aiden Grant, and the rest of humanity's warriors were ready to defend their planet to the very end. The final battle was about to begin, and the atmosphere on Earth was thick with anticipation. The Terran fleet had made extensive preparations, their ships reinforced with the latest technologies, their soldiers eager for the chance to bring an end to the war once and for all. They had fought together through unimaginable hardships, and now they would face their greatest challenge yet. In space, the Terran and alien fleets met in a cataclysmic collision. The once silent void erupted into chaos as warships, massive and menacing, clashed with one another. Explosions lit up the dark expanse as laser fire streaked across the void, hitting ships with such force that entire vessels were reduced to smoldering wreckage. The air was filled with the hum of energy beams and the roar of missiles as both sides fought fiercely for supremacy. Amidst this chaos, Captain Aiden Grant stood at the helm of his flagship, ready to face his adversary, Vrax. The Terran fleet was strong, but the alien commander's ruthless tactics and immense power were enough to strike fear into the hearts of even the most experienced warriors. As the battle raged on around him, Aiden couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had led him to this moment. It had all started years ago when his friend Bonner, a brilliant officer, had been killed in the first failed mission against the alien empire. Bonner's death had been the turning point for Aiden. It had ignited a fire within him, one that pushed him to rise through the ranks and become the leader he was today. Every battle, every victory, had been for Bonner. And now, with Earth's fate hanging in the balance, Aiden knew this battle would be the most important of all. As his fleet engaged Vrax's forces, Aiden's thoughts were filled with memories of the comrades he had lost. Bonner's face flashed before his eyes, his laugh, his unwavering belief in humanity, and his dedication to the cause. Aiden had promised Bonner that Earth would never fall, and now he would do everything in his power to keep that promise. The Terran fleet's weapons discharged with deadly precision, targeting alien warships with a ferocity that left no room for mercy. The alien forces fought back with equal intensity, their ships moving in intricate formations, unleashing deadly strikes in a bid to wipe humanity from the stars. Yet for every alien ship that fell, there seemed to be another to take its place, until Aiden couldn't tell where the battle would end. The fight between Aiden and Vrax was a spectacle in itself. Their ships circled one another, launching blistering rounds of laser fire and energy blasts. Each time one of them made a move, the other countered with deadly accuracy. The space around them became a war zone, explosions and flashes of light illuminating the dark expanse of space. But amidst the chaos, there was no time for hesitation. Both men knew that the outcome of this battle would decide the fate of an entire world. As Aiden and Vrax continued their duel, the stakes were raised even higher. The alien commander's warship unleashed a devastating wave of firepower, tearing through the Terran lines. For a moment, it seemed as though the aliens might claim victory. Aiden's heart raced as he watched his ships fall under the onslaught, but he refused to back down. The memory of Bonner's death, and the countless other lives lost, pushed him to keep fighting. Then, with a decisive move, Aiden launched the final assault. He ordered his fleet to focus all their firepower on Vrax's flagship, using the element of surprise to their advantage. The alien commander's warship shuddered as it absorbed the full force of the Terran assault. It was a desperate, all-or-nothing strategy, but it worked. The alien ship's shields failed, and its hull cracked under the barrage. Vrax's ship was badly damaged, but he was still alive, still fighting. On the ground, the battle raged on. Earth's soldiers engaged in brutal hand-to-hand combat with the alien invaders. The Terran soldiers fought with unparalleled determination, using every tactic at their disposal. The alien soldiers, despite their superior technology, struggled to match the raw intensity of the human fighters. With every blow struck and every victory gained, the Terran forces proved that their true strength was not in their weapons, but in their spirit. As the battle reached its peak, the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. The alien fleet was being shattered, their ships falling one by one. But Supreme Commander Vrax was not going down without a fight. His flagship, though damaged, still loomed large in the chaos of space. It was clear that this final showdown would not end easily. In the heat of the moment, Captain Aiden Grant made the decision to face Vrax directly. He launched his ship forward, engaging the alien commander in a final desperate maneuver. The two ships locked together in an epic collision, their weapons firing wildly as they fought for dominance. The explosions were deafening, and the shockwaves rocked the very fabric of space, yet neither side relented. Aiden's ship was heavily damaged, but he refused to give up. With one final push, he locked onto Vrax's ship, sending a devastating blast into its core. The alien warship shuddered, and then, in a brilliant flash of light, it exploded, sending Vrax's fleet into disarray. The Terran forces, though battered and scarred, had emerged victorious. Earth's fleet had shattered the alien empire's strength, and Supreme Commander Vrax was captured. Humanity had proven itself not just as survivors, but as warriors in their own right. The alien empire, humbled and broken, began to retreat. The Terrans had sent a clear message. They would not be defeated, and they would never surrender. As Earth's forces celebrated their hard-earned victory, there was a sense of relief, but also a deep sorrow. So many lives had been lost in the struggle for survival. But the war was over, and Earth stood victorious. The alien empire would never again threaten their home. The universe would never forget the power of humanity. The war had taken a toll on Earth, but it had also forged humanity into a force the galaxy could no longer ignore. As the dust of battle settled, and the scars of war began to heal, Earth stood at the precipice of a new beginning. The once dismissed species, underestimated by the alien empires, was now a formidable power in its own right. The victory over the alien empire had not only secured Earth's survival, but had also changed the course of human history forever. The Galactic Council, a gathering of the most powerful and influential species in the universe, recognized Earth's new status. They had watched in awe as humanity had defied the odds and emerged victorious against seemingly insurmountable forces. No longer would Earth be seen as a mere backwater planet, irrelevant in the grand scheme of the galaxy. Now, Earth was invited to join the Galactic Council, and this time, humanity would sit at the table as equals. Captain Aiden Grant and General Cortez were chosen to lead the negotiations. Aiden, the captain who had once been thrust into leadership after the loss of his close friend, Bonner, now stood as one of Earth's most revered leaders. General Cortez, a symbol of strength and resilience throughout the war, was by his side. Together, they would represent humanity's hopes and dreams for a future of peace and cooperation among the stars. The negotiations were tense. Earth was an outsider, still new to the complex politics of galactic affairs. But the alien species, now aware of humanity's strength and resolve, treated the Terrans with respect. There was no longer any question about humanity's place in the galaxy. The Terrans had earned their seat at the table, and the once dismissive alien races had no choice but to acknowledge their power. The emotional weight of the war was still heavy on Earth's leaders. Though victory had been won, the cost had been steep. So many lives had been lost, including some of the best and brightest the planet had ever known. Bonner's death had been the turning point in Aiden's journey, and it still haunted him. The faces of fallen soldiers, friends, and comrades filled his mind as he sat at the negotiation table. He remembered their sacrifices, the lives they had given for a cause greater than themselves, and though his heart ached for them, he knew that their sacrifice had paved the way for a future where humanity could thrive. The weight of leadership also rested heavily on General Cortez. She had been a fierce and unyielding leader during the war, but the aftermath brought its own set of challenges. Earth's soldiers had given everything, and many of them had left behind families, homes, and dreams. But Cortez knew that their sacrifice would not be in vain. The future generations of humans would benefit from their hard-won victory. She had always believed in the strength of humanity, but now, as she sat at the table with alien leaders, she could see the truth in her belief. Humanity had earned its place in the stars. As the negotiations continued, Earth's leaders pushed for the recognition of the human spirit. It wasn't just their technology or their military strength that made them unique. It was their unyielding will to survive, to protect what they loved, and to fight for what was right. The Terrans had fought for each other, for their home, and for the future. The galaxy had seen that, and now, they had no choice but to recognize humanity as an equal member of the galactic community. At the same time, Aiden and Cortez also recognized that peace would not come easily. The scars of war were still fresh, and there would be those who resisted this new era of cooperation. There would always be threats, both from within the galaxy and beyond, and humanity had to be prepared to face them. But for now, there was hope. Hope that humanity, now standing tall as equals, could work alongside the other species to build a future of peace and prosperity. As the final agreements were signed, Earth's place in the Galactic Council was secured. The once dismissed humans had proven themselves as powerful allies, capable of achieving what no one had expected. Their strength, resilience, and unwavering determination had turned the tide of the war, and now they were ready to turn the page on a new chapter in human history. The rebuilding process began almost immediately. Earth's cities, which had once been reduced to rubble by the devastating attacks from the alien empire, were now being restored. The people of Earth worked together, united by the shared experience of war and the collective goal of rebuilding their world. It was a difficult process, but humanity had learned to adapt, to overcome the impossible, and to rise from the ashes. The future was uncertain, but it was theirs to shape. On a larger scale, Earth began to make its presence known throughout the galaxy. Their newfound membership in the Galactic Council allowed them to establish diplomatic relations with other species. They shared their technologies, their culture, and their ideas, fostering an environment of cooperation and mutual respect. Earth's leaders worked hard to ensure that the mistakes of the past were not repeated. They knew that peace was fragile, and they would do everything in their power to preserve it. Yet, even as Earth rebuilt, there was a sense of humility among the Terrans. They knew that the war had cost them dearly, and they would never forget the sacrifices made by their fallen comrades. Bonner's memory lived on in the hearts of those who had fought alongside him. And in Aiden's mind, his friend's legacy would always guide him. The victory was not just about Earth's survival. It was about honoring the memory of those who had given everything for a cause greater than themselves. As the months passed, Earth began to flourish once more. Cities rose from the ashes, and the planet's people embraced the new opportunities that the Galactic Council provided. Human scientists, engineers, and diplomats worked hand in hand with alien counterparts to advance technologies, improve relations, and foster peace. The once divided factions of Earth, now united by their shared victory, began to focus on the future, leaving behind the hatred and division that had once threatened to tear them apart. But it wasn't just about technology and diplomacy. It was about the human spirit, the courage, the determination, and the capacity for love and hope that had carried them through the darkest days of the war. That was the legacy humanity would leave behind, not just a species capable of surviving, but a species capable of thriving, building, and creating a future worth fighting for. The final scene of the story was a powerful symbol of the new era humanity had entered. A group of human and alien leaders stood together, their hands clasped in a sign of solidarity. The once warring species, who had fought against each other in a brutal and unforgiving conflict, now stood united, working together to build a better future for all. The galaxy, which had once viewed humanity as weak and insignificant, now saw them for what they truly were, a force to be reckoned with. As the camera zoomed out, the viewer saw the vastness of space, the stars stretching out into the infinite unknown. The Terrans, now standing tall as equals among the stars, had proven that peace could be achieved, even after the darkest of wars. The war was over, but the legacy of humanity's fight for survival and victory would resonate across the galaxy for centuries to come. The story had come to an end, but humanity's journey was just beginning.